Dance for me. Nah. I'll suck your dick.
Hibana on the surface is a very bad unit, especially when we compare her to her other spring units like Arc and Rudius, who are very competent units. However, much like a lot of units nowadays, we need to look into her passives and truly understand how her passives work in order to see Hibana's true potential. First passive, Flaming Renaissance, causes her to place a tree on the track whenever she is placed down. And this tree has a range that is equal to 20% of Hibana's range. And what this tree does is it essentially reapplies any stacks of burn on an enemy when that enemy walks through the tree's range. This is really good because of Hibana's second passive, Scorch, which causes Hibana to do burn that is equal to 30% of Hibana's damage over 8 seconds, as well as making it so that whenever an enemy walks through the tree's range, they are inflicted with the debuff Scorched, which allows fire element units to do 20% more damage to that enemy. When we understand how her first passive works, we can kind of see how her damage can become kind of ridiculous, because essentially every single Hibana places their own tree down, meaning that one stack of burn can be, multiplied or reapplied up to 12 times. Because you can have up to 12 Hibanas down, obviously if you have 4 people, because she's a 3 placement unit. But even with only 3 Hibanas down, this will increase a single essentially stack of burn up to essentially 120% of Hibana's damage, which is already kind of crazy. And truthfully, while it does seem kind of crazy, Hibana isn't obviously a great damage unit. She only does around 22,000. Here's the top 5 YouTubers I want in my bed one day. Number 1, we have Valk. Number 2, we have Exopt. But we have to remember that this passive can be applied to any stacks of burn, meaning any unit that does burn can be affected by this passive. So when we combine her with somebody like Soul, who already had a relatively high DPS, we can boost that damage by a lot. And that's what we'll be doing from here on out. Soul already does around 7,000 DPS outside Dragon Soul, and then 17,000 DPS in Dragon Soul, which is very high for a trail unit. When we pair this together with Scorched and Hibana's first passive, this increases his damage per second up to 12,000 and 31,000 in Dragon Soul. But the thing about Soul that people need to remember is that Soul has 2 passives that essentially allow him to apply more stacks of burn, meaning that with one attack he can theoretically apply up to 3 stacks of burn. And when we combine that with Hibana's first passive, as well as their Scorch effect, you get a total of around 12 stacks of burn off of one attack. And this increases damage per second all the way up to 24,000 and 61,000 damage per second. And this is with only one person bringing Hibana, and we can have multiple people bring Hibana, meaning that this can go even higher. So if we have 2 people that bring Hibana, his damage can go up to 37,000 damage per second and 94,000 damage per second. When we have 3 people that bring her, it will increase to 51,000 and 127,000. And finally, when you have 4 people that bring her, this can increase all the way up to 64,000 and 161,000 damage per second. And the important thing to remember about this is traitless, meaning that not only can you have multiple souls down to increase this can also, make Monarch Soul become probably, I would say, the unit that has the highest DPS in the game. So let's go look at his Monarch stats with Hibana. When one person brings Hibana, he will be doing 50,000 damage and 126,000 damage per second in Dragon Soul. When we have 2 people that bring Hibana, he will be doing 68,000 and 71,000 damage per second. When 3 people bring her, he will do 86,000 and 215,000 damage per second. And finally, when 4 people bring her, he will be doing 103,000 and 259,000 damage per second. which is pretty nuts. Like I said, I don't know for sure whether or not this is truly the highest damage per second. However, I think it's definitely up there, especially when we consider the fact that we can buff this furthermore by adding damage buffers like Super and Haruka. But yeah, overall, my main goal is to kind of show you the potential of Hibana more so as support rather than herself, because I think we all kind of knew Hibana is not a good DPS, and I wasn't trying to sugarcoat that. Obviously, this video is more focused, I would say, around Soul, but I think hopefully with this video, you guys maybe got a better understanding of how she can be useful and maybe more so her overall potential in the future. But let me know what you guys think of her down below, and thank you guys for watching like always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Dance for me. I'll suck his ass.